Awesome. All right. And then Greg, I need to really quickly make you a co-host so that you can share your screen.
Yeah, and Deb, I do need to, I probably have until about 2:35 today,
Perfect.
maybe a good 20 minutes or
That's,
something like
it's
that.
all up to you. You go as fast as you want to go.
Okie doke.
Awesome. All right. Let me know if you got that request to make you co-host. Did you get it?
Yep, I'm all set.
Perfect. All righty. Well, welcome everybody to our Soul Changes Lives weekly webinar. I am your host. I am Debbie Perez Cockburn. I love being with you weekly. I love sharing how soul has changed and touched my life personally. I know it has changed and touched all of your lives personally. And I did not ask for a testimonial this week, but if someone will be brave and share a brief testimonial with us of how soul has impacted you personally, would you raise your hand and open your microphone so that you can share a quick testimonial? If not, I have wonderful stories to draw on. So, Eufemia, are you raising your hand? Perfect. Open your microphone. I'd love to hear from you.
It's a simple but funny one. My daughter loves, I don't know how to say antojitos.
Oh, she likes treats.
Yeah, and she loves to eat pizza. But we start taking all the products, well, not many, just fiber, the drinks and this treat. And then out of the sudden she says, Mom, I cannot have more pizza. And I asked why. It's too greasy. I just cannot enjoy it anymore. I said, well, that's nice. And then she got another one with strawberries and chocolate. And then she left all of those strawberries and chocolate she made. And I had to eat it because she just can't have too much now. And she used to be the ones.
Can I ask quickly, Eufemia, how old your daughter is? How old is she?
I think she's 19.
19. So she's a teenager.
Yeah,
so
she's a
teenager. Yeah. So for a teenager to say, I don't enjoy eating junk food anymore or super sweet things because she has been using Soul is a very, very big thing. That's mind-blowing to me. And I will tell you why. Because you're feeding her good nutrition, she's actually made that mindset change. Her body has made that connection with the herbs. And so she no longer has that craving. And that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love that testimonial. So this week, we're talking about something that's super special and brand new to Soul. Many of you participated in the event last week where we launched this product. It's called LongeviD. This is a completely 100% plant-based product, which is high in vitamin D3. So you will find a completely vegan source of vitamin D3. What I love about this product is that it's capsulated. So if you are used to using a D supplement, you are getting a tablet, right? And products that are tableted are really, really hard to digest. They're hard to break down. They're really mishandled. And so it's almost an abusive process to everything that may have been good in it. So what Soul did was they have it in capsule form. Each capsule guarantees 1,000 IUs of D3 per capsule. So that's huge because not only do you have a guesstimate, you have an actual number that you associate per capsule of D3. And that's just D3. We're going to talk about today with Greg Halliday, the president and one of the founders of Soul Naturals. He is a dear friend of mine. We've known each other for almost 30 years now, Greg. I did the math the other day. And this is wonderful because Soul Naturals, for those of you who don't know, and I know many of you share these webinars, Soul Naturals is a company that does supplementation of herbs, but we don't use the regular run-of-the-mill herbs. We are an adaptogen fueled company. So every product that you buy has at least one adaptogen in it, in addition to all of the other wonderful natural sources of herbs that can really change your life. And what does that mean for you? It means that Soul will change the way your mind and your body interact with each other. And that's why I love that testimonial that Eufemia shared, because her teenage daughter has already made that connection between the mind and the body. So I won't tell you a lot about longevity because Greg is going to do that for us today. I just wanted to let you know that not only is it a plant source of vitamin D3, but it's very, very high in many other minerals, as you will see in the presentation today. And this product can be used by everyone and anyone. You can use it as a prenatal supplement because we know that as babies are being developed in the womb, one of the first things that develops is the nervous system. And if you can feed the nervous system correctly before the child is born, then you are now changing society one baby at a time. So I really love that. I'm going to zip it. I'm going to turn the time over to our dear friend, Greg Halliday, to tell us why LongeviD is such a great product, safe for daily use for anyone over the age of 1 all the way to 101 years old.
I don't know, Debbie. I don't know if you should zip it. I think I like that thought, that prenatal thought of yours, because I believe it. So yeah, you just gave me even more to think about. But let me pull up some slides and hopefully I can just share highlights from the launch event that we had about a week ago. Probably most of you were on that. And if you're like me, it's just good to review anyway. I always get a few new thoughts and ideas, both for my own family, myself. And I hope that some of this lodges in my head so that when I'm talking to other people, you know, the piece of information they need to hear that gets them to make a good change can be that piece of information that I remember. So my pleasure today to be able to share some of this with each of you. These first few slides are from Blake. As you know, he heads up all the sourcing and works with the labs and works with the manufacturing. This was a lot of work because this is not readily available here in the US. But look how important D3, I think universally people are starting to understand how important it is. And that's evidenced by that second bullet point. They doubled the RDI for it last April. And it's probably low. It's probably on the low side. We chose to put the level of 1,000 IU per capsule. So it's really easy for us to do the math, right? When we want to take a certain amount of D3, it's 1,000 IU per capsule. We're gonna circle back to benefits of D3, okay? But just a little bit about why we took the ingredients we did and what they are. Goji is in 2 forms in this formula: the fruit powder and a concentrated extract of the fruit. And we use, of course, the whole fruit in the powder and in the concentrated extract. But the extract is concentrated for the group of polysaccharides. They're quite famous in lots of studies, extensive studies with goji berry. Lycium's another word for it. Wolfberry's another word. Why did we choose them? Why did we choose to add an extract concentrated besides just the whole fruit powder? The adaptogenic, a lot of the key adaptogenic benefits are contained in those polysaccharides and cell-to-cell communication enhancement, which is, I believe, part of why all adaptogens do so well and are able to make changes that modulate overactive, down a little bit, underactive, up a little bit. I think part of the reason for that is the cellular communication that's improved. And Debbie mentioned we always have at least 1 adaptogen. Well, in this case, 2. Here's the second one. This one has been on my radar for several years and been thinking about where to use it. The leaves kind of look like the shape of those little drawings of hearts. And you use both the stem and the leaf. This is very concentrated. It's the stem and leaf concentrated 4 times. Again, back to its cellular activity where the silent work of the adaptogens happens. That's kind of the way I like to put it. Cellular repair and rejuvenation. That happens anyway. If we have enough nutrition. I love, someone just recently was teaching on this with skin. Like, you know, skin improves if the nutrition improves because the skin's constantly being recycled, right, and rebuilt. But it's rebuilt the same. I can't remember who mentioned this a week ago. It's rebuilt the same if the nutrition's the same. It just uses what it has. If the stress level's the same kind of issues remain. But if we can change those, and if we can improve nutrition, we can see different results. And I believe that in all the organs and tissues. It's not that I think everything can always be made perfect, but I do believe everything can be improved. Almost everything. There might be something that we're unaware of. I don't know, you know. I mean, obviously, if someone had an amputation, we can't, that's not something. But I think more often our problem is we don't think things can improve that really can. I'd rather bring that message to people. So in order to let these adaptogens do what they need to do, and to let this reindeer lichen, which is so high in D3 and some other things, we need a lot of minerals and other things in the formula. And so here they are, plantain and alfalfa, two famous ones, right? Probably don't need to spend much time on them. But they're really high in lots of good things: calcium, magnesium, potassium, selenium, silica. I mentioned these here because we did some testing just to see levels, and they're good levels. The selenium was the one that surprised us. It was higher than we would have expected. Like that, selenium is particularly useful in immune issues and a lot of things. Why do we have this? Well, just like SolVital. SolVital's got lots of good minerals too. Several of our products do, but this in particular has a combination unlike any that we have in any product. And we just sort of believe we all are lacking in minerals. I'll just, the two reasons that I will give, they might be different than your two reasons. Mine are typical processed diet, just not there in foods, you know. And the other reason is stress. The world so interconnected, and way too much negativism, way too much of that. And I just believe those things burn through minerals, and we're just always low and lacking. So what kind of puts the cherry on top? Well, two things. I'm sorry, I don't know where my picture went on the side here, but it's the probiotic that we have in ProBioIQ, Propionum bacterium freudenreichii. Big old long name. One of my favorites because it's heat resistant, does not need to be refrigerated. It's been shown when it's present, other strains do better in our gut. Other strains flourish better. It produces bacteriocins. It produces things that kill negative pathogens. And it also produces a number of key vitamins like B12 and K2. And that's kind of like the cherry on top to me, because we know how important K2 is in calcium absorption. Dr. Allison made the statement last week, maybe you heard it as well, that there's starting to be a general thought that K2 may be as key in an infinite number of physiological needs that we have, both mind and body, comparable to D3. We just don't understand as much about it. But D3 now, almost everyone just feels like, oh yes, it helps. And, you know, there's just universal acceptance of that. K2 is starting to show similar types of importance. And so we love that our understanding is you can get K1, you can get other things from plants. K2 does need to be manufactured by a probiotic. It is something that is made by friendly bacteria in the gut. And so we need it. We need to take it in supplementation. And then finally, we added a little bit of organic medium chain triglyceride from coconut, because it actually is key to several of the important vitamins in this formula, including D3. They're fat soluble, right? And so great combo is this with Solmegas or Infatuate, your good fats. So now I'm going to jump to Dr. Allison. She talked about mood. I loved her food for mood. That's what this formula is about. It is absolutely food for mood. If I just looked at that one thing, I could get a lot of good and a lot of change in my life. Just looking at this formula about mood. I can tell you, we had someone on another Zoom earlier this week who had only been using this for 3 days, who said, I've been taking 10,000 IU, not milligrams, IU of D3 for mood purposes. And that's pretty high, right? Compared to the normal consensus. And I was wondering how much of this I should take. They said, she said, Valerie told me just to start with one capsule just so I can sort of see, build up. But I started with 2 because I thought I'm taking 10,000. One capsule is 1,000. I'm not going to, maybe I'll start with 2 was her thought. She says, I noticed it with 2. Within 2 to 3 days, I'm feeling better than I was on these other, on whatever her source. And my understanding is the only source of D3 is processed sheep's wool. That's where we always got it over the years as we worked in another company. I think that's the only form available. And that's another testimonial to the power of minerals held in plants, versus getting them other ways, and just how much our body's able to do with them. So this is a big thing. Dr. Allison told us a little bit more about this lichen. I was surprised that some are known to live for 200 years. So you can eat it and it grows back and doesn't have roots. It's people think it's a moss, looks a little bit like moss, but it's a lichen. And she explained that a lichen is simply this. It's a fungi and an algae. So you have algae and fungi team up, and that's where you get this wonderful nutrition. And that's what reindeer lichen is. She even told us the name of the algae is Trabuxia and what some of the things that it contains. So I'm not going to go into her whole comment about D3 in terms of how we process it, but let's summarize it as it's not as easy as everyone thinks to just get out in the sun and have enough D3. That does work for some people, but for many people, that transfer never happens. It takes a few days and there are factors that get involved. But it's important because it deals with the mood, it deals with immunity, it deals with bones, it deals with longevity. So D3, we're going to circle back to that as well as we get into some other great presentations that I've kind of just combined them all together here. Guducci, it is an adaptogen. I mentioned a little about it. Dr. Allison focused on how protective it is for kidneys and liver. And she talked a little bit about that relationship. It aids in uric acid excretion. It does lots of things. And one study she found that was interesting with Guducci was it was a malaria treatment for a lot of people. This is for over many, many years. Hay fever improved, stress was better, it's antimicrobial, blood sugar balancing, blood lipid balancing. And then she mentions bone breakdown, that Guducci can slow that process or even prevent it. And then she mentions a study that shows wounds heal faster, and damaged, altered immune systems can restore faster with Guducci. It's kind of a rebuilder of sorts. Brain inflammation, memory, sleep disorders, here are some others from all from different studies associated with nutritional use of Guducci. Neuroprotective, asthma issues, all of this. Well, Guducci is an adaptogen. To me, the silent work of adaptogens is normalizing in general. And so we would expect all these key body processes to improve. Now you add that to this adaptogen, and here we are. A couple of things that Goji do according to studies. And we're back with liver protection. Eyes, wonderful for the eyes, for the pancreas. 2 or 3 different studies showing how blood sugar management and pancreas health improved, protecting the brain and memory. Now she just listed in several slides now studies that directly speak to depression and different mood-related issues. Low levels of vitamin D are always associated with them, and that's just something that was a theme. You can raise the levels, you can improve that situation. As if we allow the levels to get lower, we tend to struggle more. This third bullet point was the one I wanted to remind us about today. People that are what they call resistant, therapy resistant depression, or treatment resistant, actually not therapy, but treatment resistant. She actually drew the point that it's not referring to therapy, it's referring to prescription drugs and how some people can take them and it doesn't help them at all with depression. Vitamin D as a nutrient, even in these cases, made a difference, made improvements. So that's another study she she brought attention to. Postpartum depression, Debbie mentioned as a prenatal, it is amazing. It's just kind of a no-brainer, to be honest. And I'm sure there are many more studies to come on this. Here are some studies that she's highlighted about anxiety, and including suicide risk. So lots and lots there. This is just like the tip of the iceberg. The D3 is so well studied for that. She talks about how minerals, how key they are as well in terms of mood. And that's where she gets her title, Food for Mood, because there's lots of food in longevity, lots of food. And all of the food, the types of foods we've included in here are some of the most key nutrients to be able to make a difference in mood. So minerals and certain key vitamins are all part of that. She right here focused on magnesium, another one that's plentiful in this formula. And look at all the imbalances that happen, that occur when that's an issue, when that is not happening as it should. She mentions a little about the probiotic strain. I mentioned about K2, right? She reminded us that the same strain produces B12. So you have that. You have a good source of B12 production in the gut, and B12 is another key factor in this idea of mood being affected by our food. So let's jump now to the immune system and a little bit of what Lydia shared with us. I love this point of Lydia's, and it's probably, you guys probably are all super familiar because I know you work in the same system as she does. She just reminded us all that whatever your immune issue is, there are 4 things that contribute to that. And if we can keep that in our minds, it's helpful as we rebuild ourselves and as we help others rebuild their nutrition. Number 1, in some way, when the body's organs and organ systems get out of balance, that's always a factor. When there are a lot of toxins, when we're full of them, we need to detox. When we're hosting a lot of pathogens of any kind of source. And then when just in general, good nutrition is low, on the low end. All 4 of those directly move into immune problems out of the gate. Because immune it's our protector, right? So Lydia's purpose was to show how these ingredients are all amazing for immune. So she reminded us that we use whole plant, and that's true. We don't just pick an active component, like in the reindeer lichen, we didn't just say, yeah, just give me the D3, leave the rest. We don't do that because we believe in the natural cofactors, or let's say companions, co-compounds maybe is a better word. We understand some of them. I don't think we understand all of them. So I love things in their natural state. So Guducci, the compounds in this adaptogen are wonderful when you're suffering with certain conditions that just come back. They repeat. Well, Guducci is a cycle breaker, is how I like to put it, anti-periodic for some of these just stubborn situations that repeat, antimicrobial, inflammatory, anti-inflammatory, anti-allergic. She reminded us where the reindeer lichen comes from, and we already talked about this, okay? And she reminded us that vitamin D3 is actually a steroid hormone. We call it a vitamin. It operates, that's why it's involved in everything, and it's so important. It can help with inflammation and many other things, okay? So here's Lydia's question. Are you feeling tired? Are you lacking energy? Well, reindeer lichen can make a difference in that as well. I already mentioned the sheep's wool, right? It's kind of gross to go through this whole thing about where you get it. It's just highly processed. It's clearly quite pure when they pull it out of it, but it's very processed. In this case, we get to have it not be highly processed and be in a healthy plant state. Plantain is, we mentioned this as well. So she talks about immune benefits of plantain, and see her list right here. Free radicals being restricted in their formation, helping us excrete uric acid. It's antifungal and viral and bacterial, all 3 of those things. I think it acts a little bit like an adaptogen in that it's an immunomodulator, protects liver. Look at all the different things that plantain leaf powder does, which is in this formula. that have to do with our immune system. Goji, of course, is just loaded. It is truly a super fruit in that classic definition. There are studies, lots of studies that show that it will improve inflammation. In other words, keep inflammation at healthy levels instead of letting it get out of control. And then she talked about some tumor growth studies, how there are several studies, she's got the reference right here, inhibiting growth of tumors, improving effectiveness of abnormal cell treatment. So goji is also wonderful for the eyes, a couple of glaucoma, macular degeneration studies that she referenced. And then she ended with alfalfa as a great antihistamine, and that people that are familiar with alfalfa, over the years, it has been used for various respiratory immune issues. I will say that when we started studying this particular group of plants, including jumping back to Caducci, one of the things that impressed us to include it in this formula during this year and this era, worldwide in health, were the respiratory immune strengths of several of these ingredients. And that one thing all of us can control is the way we give nutrition to our body. That's something we can control and put ourselves in a better place. And that was one of our primary reasons for including these. Now let's just end. I know I've gone a little over and I really have like 2 minutes, so I'm going to do this fast. I'm so sorry, but this is so good. I don't want to leave this one out. This is Valerie's little bank of slides. And her point was essentially this: there is not a point of our lives. There's no different period of our lives where the way our body handles calcium and the other associated minerals to deal with bone and structural health is unimportant. Or even maybe better said, is key to the way we feel and our well-being, both in terms of mood and in terms of physical well-being. That's kind of the point that she didn't say it quite that way to me, but that's what drove home to me so strongly, that in every single stage of development, including in the womb, that this issue should always be a prime issue of ours, how we are dealing with our nutrition and our health here, because it affects everything. And she did such a good job of showing that. She showed here the connection between vitamin D deficiency, chronic fatigue, osteomalacia, and depression. Study that from a book of Michael Hollick's. She cited reindeer lichen, the D3 in there, muscle mass, strength, and coordination all improve. I think of that as children are developing, and I also think of that as we're all becoming more, as we get more age, and that point where I've had some close friends start to struggle with that. It is and how much a difference vitamin D can make in changing that. I think I might have shared, I can't remember if I did here. My brother-in-law has pretty advanced multiple sclerosis, and he is on a prescription for vitamin D, which is sourced the same way all the rest of it is. He was super happy to learn about this. And he told me that one of his colleagues that he respects the most, who also has multiple sclerosis, a woman, had told him that she can look at her vitamin D3 markers. When they're below a certain level, her symptoms exacerbate in her, and she suffers from her MS symptoms. When her D3 is above a certain threshold, which I can't remember what it was 50 something in the blood work that they do with D3, they went away. Like, this was something that helped them cope. I would love to get him to the point where he can look at core issues, improving core issues, not just coping, but vitamin D and that whole aspect of it, musculoskeletal health, it plays a key role, and we know that. Teeth and development of teeth. Valerie mentioned this. She mentioned, I'm jumping. I'm sorry, I have to jump on some of this, okay? But deficiency signs, nice little review here, right? How we can tell when we're low. Just look at some of those deficiency signs. Another place is loss of calcium in the jawbone. Teeth start to get loose. The tailbone gets sore sometimes. Remember that every 6 years, the calcium's recycled, recreated. Do we want to give it something better for the next 6 years? to build us with, and that's what I was thinking when Valerie was teaching this. Kidney issues and the whole relationship between the two. She showed us osteoporosis, right? More gaps in the bones, less calcium, less stability, and just remind us at any given time, a certain percentage of our body's being remodeled. That's just reality, which means there's never a time that D levels and all the co-compounds that need to be there for it are important. Never a time they aren't important, because the body's going to use what it has, right? So that's why we've got alfalfa in here too, to go with that reindeer lichen. All the great stuff about alfalfa. Just look at the list. Big long list, isn't it? Of very key nutrients. And plantain's no different. She didn't list them here, but she just reminded us about two things. Yeah, it's high in calcium and also it's very well known for kidney and bladder health. Well, you combine that with Guducci, where it's got some powerful anti-inflammatory. And remember that slide I showed earlier about repairing and rebuilding and Guducci? That's this great synergy that was the light bulb moment for us as we brought Guducci into this formula with the alfalfa plantain D3, okay, and the lyceum. Is the relationship that Valerie talks about, referencing Chinese philosophy, that kidney bone is one and the same. You balance one, you improve the other. You improve the other, you help to balance one. And Goji's a great nourisher as well, along with Guducci. So she left us with these thoughts. Okay, here's a couple questions on if longevity might be for me. Tender when I push on my sternum. Do I ever kind of get that achiness here and there, tailbone? Do I move a lot or am I sitting most of the time? Do I have muscular weakness, particularly in the pelvis hip area? Poor teeth formation, teeth hurting, regular back pain. So she was focusing on the osteo and the structural issues. I love all the little helps she has in here. Lots of years go into that background. So I hope these have been helpful. These are kind of just a little review. I was fascinated by it. I love the chance to review it again with you. Hope that it can be something that really makes a difference for a lot of people. I certainly want to echo in conclusion what Debbie said, that it is a product for virtually everyone. It's a great daily add-on. Therapeutically, we're going to use the levels we need. Preventatively, it doesn't take much of this. 1 or 2 capsules preventatively is, once we get ourselves in a good place, is going to be great for us. So anyway, Deb, and I'm sorry to have to run out, but I hope everybody has a great day.
Thanks so much, Greg. We appreciate all that information, and I'll go ahead and I'll close it up from here. So thanks again.
Betcha. See ya.
Everybody was able to hear that information again. It was so beautifully presented by Greg and originally by Dr. Allison, by Lydia Ferrantino, and by Valerie Bledsoe. So in conclusion, and just to review just a certain amount of points here, my take from this is that longevity is exactly what the name says, right? It will improve the quality of our life and allow us to live a longer, better life. No one here wants to get old before their time. I don't want to get old. I've always said, and those of you who know me, who have known me for many years, know exactly how long I want to live and wearing good shoes, right? And walking around in my heels. I don't wear high heels anymore. I wear kitten heels, but I still want to look cute when I'm 120 and walking around, because I believe in longevity. I believe that our bodies can heal themselves if we give them exactly what they need to thrive and grow. And having said that, when I look at this product, because of its high content of D3, which is measurable per capsule, we don't have exact amounts of B12, which I love, that it helps the body get B12. B12 is so important for the nervous system. It's one of the things that's most prescribed right now for anxiety and depression. And if you're not getting a good source of B12, which by good source, I mean a good plant source where you're getting the whole benefit of it, this is a great option. So when I look at longevity, I think I get D, D3, B, B6, B12, A, C, K2. I am getting a good source of fat because of the MCT from the coconut in here, which because it has oil, I will tell you how to take it in a bit. I think also that all of these minerals, the calcium, the magnesium, the phosphorus, everything that we need to get our circulatory system working properly, to get our nervous system functioning well, to make the connection between the urinary system and the osteomuscular system. We have a complete product here. So please, 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 please keep in mind when someone tells you, if you have a new client who says, but you don't have any vitamins or tableted vitamins or mineral, we have tons. It's in our 4 drinks. It's in this product. It's in the maca. It's in everything that we have is high in minerals and vitamins. So you're getting a great array, a great abundance of what the body needs, and you're getting it in 100% plant-based source. So that's important. So we have, to sum up, we have kidney bones support. We have support for child development in this product. We have a great addition to women who are wanting to get pregnant or who are pregnant can use this product, and it will help the babies have a better and stronger immune system, a better and stronger muscular system, and a better and stronger neural system. So that's important. I think of people who have immunodeficiencies, like Greg mentioned. He mentioned his brother-in-law in particular with a immunocompromised situation, struggling with MS. Those of you who know me know that I have my youngest sister also struggles with MS, and she has been using many of these products with great success over the years. And so I don't think that she has given up her medication, but I know she has given up getting prescribed vitamins and minerals by using Solle products. So this can help very much. And also, I was really surprised to see the studies that talk about blood lipids and how those can be affected, and how you can also modulate blood sugar levels with this product. So I'm seeing that you can remodel or rebuild your body by providing a lot of good nutrition by using LongeviD. You can fight depression, anxiety, stress by using this product. And how would I use it? I was asked that yesterday, and I thought about it again today, and I really haven't changed my mind about any of it. So if I were using the 4 months to better health, I could add it to any of those months and find great success. But my theory is, you know, if you're going through the 4 months, like you saw in Lydia's slide in particular, where we talk about the immune system or the things that keep us sick, we know that there are really 4 things that affect our health, right? Body systems being out of balance, being in contact with toxicity every day, being in contact with pathogens and parasites, or poor nutrition. So those 4 areas are addressed in our 4-month to better health program. D3, the LongeviD, will help in all 4 of those areas. So that means you could easily add it to any of those months that you are in, or you can go through your 4 months, take a rest, and I would say after your month 4, which is the one where you're addressing your nutritional needs and activating your body, I would say this would be a great product to combine with Infatuate, Avant Greens, and your 4 drinks. And that could be just a package just by itself that you could use after your 4 months that would really add, after having done the nutritional balance, the 4th month. This would be to really soup it up and beef it up. So I would say, you know, if Solle comes up with a package that would be similar to this, it would be great. And you probably noticed that I didn't include any fiber with it. And the reason I say that, you can add it to any of your programs. Just do not take your LongeviD or your Infatuate or your Avant Greens at the same time as you take your fiber, so your good vibration. Why do I say that? Because all of these products will have great healthy fats in them. So remember, the LongeviD has MCT. MCT is a source of fat. You don't want the fat being absorbed by the good vibrations. So if you are taking good vibrations because you're on one of those 4 months of better health program, then I would say your fiber you take right in the morning, right? And then you take it 15 minutes before your breakfast and 15 minutes before your dinner. You're using the fiber twice a day. Stick your LongeviD in between the rest of the day. Give yourself an hour or two after you've taken your fiber product to use your LongeviD. I would take probably 1 capsule before lunch and probably another capsule at bedtime on my empty stomach when I take my Vertizymes, when I take my probiotic, and when I take, because I like to use the extra omega because some of you know, I have been battling arthritis for a few years, and we could talk about the emotional consequences of being in a stressful situation and how that manifests itself in the body. You've seen it. I only have 1 curved finger with the arthritis as I've had and battling emotional issues. I should be hunched over in a wheelchair by most doctors' perspective because the arthritis is pretty bad. As a matter of fact, one doctor tried really hard to convince me that I needed a double knee replacement. He said, your knees are severely deformed. If I were you, I wouldn't walk on those. You're going to ruin your hips. And I don't feel it. I don't feel the pain. So I started my product yesterday. It arrived. I screamed during my Spanish webinar. Everybody thought I was choking. They didn't know why I was screaming. I was so excited. I popped one right then. And then I popped one later in the afternoon. And I have to tell you that my personal experience was when I took my enzymes, my probiotic, and my omegas at nighttime, I slept like a champ. I slept like I hadn't slept in a long time. And I always take my Renew. Don't get me wrong. I take my Renew at night. And then I take my capsulated products that I take on an empty stomach, and it was wonderful. Now, there are some studies, and every body, every single human body is a different universe, right? My body doesn't react the same way as Becky's does, for instance, right? So what I do is I will try one at bedtime and see if it disrupts my sleep. There are studies that show that taking D3 at bedtime can disrupt sleep. So make your customers aware of that. But if I were going to use it and recommend it, I would probably say, because it helps so much with stress and anxiety and mood and building your immunity, take it during the daylight hours. And the truth is, when Greg said, we get D3 from the sun. Well, I had a great herbalist friend. His name was Dr. Gabello Montesano. Some of you may have met him at the other company that I worked for. We used him as a speaker quite often. Well-known herbalist, but he was also a medical doctor. He was a licensed medical doctor. And I will tell you that he was almost disbarred because of his natural health practices and all of the things that he recommended to his patients. But one of the things that I learned from Gabello was he would say, you know what, Debbie, if you want to stay healthy, even in the winter, just find a place where the sun shines in your yard. And if you have the privacy, take your clothes off and sunbathe. And, with everybody saying, oh, cancer, this and that, there is a lot of wisdom in that, to sunbathe for X amount of minutes during the day. So for those people who say to you, oh, no, I get out and I walk. Well, really, how far do you walk? From your car to the inside of the store or from your car to the inside of your office? You're out there. If you're not walking and you're not doing that, then, and I see Chris has a comment, and I will read that comment. Chris, how about you make that comment in a little bit when I finish this? But we are not exposed to the sun enough, okay? Because we're wearing layers of clothing. It's winter. You're wearing clothing. You're wearing sunscreen. You're doing a lot of things that really don't help your body absorb that vitamin D3, okay? And that's why you have all of these other sleep issues, because if you're not getting out in the sun, if you're not breathing deeply, if you're not getting that D vitamin, then that affects also your sleep cycles. And because of that, Chris, you have a comment about getting sufficient D3 and how it affects your sleep cycle.
One of the things that I've recently come in contact with from a medical doctor who's getting out of the practice, and she says sometimes when our body has enough of it and we're not processed, like, in other words, one of the things can be that we're deficient, but then when we have enough, it can interrupt our sleep also. So that's one of the positive reasons of testing it. But you're right, we do not go around it like tribal and wear just the groin coverings. And that's how they got their adequate vitamin D. And I'm Cajun. We're from, the same, and my husband fishes all the time and was deficient in vitamin D.
Yeah, it really does happen. Thanks for sharing that, Chris. So I would say, for therapeutic doses, I wouldn't say 10,000 IUs a day. I would say try 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. You've got 2,000 IUs in those 2 doses that you're taking, and see how you feel. Do that for at least 3 days and see, is my sleep better? Has my sleep been disrupted? But is my mood better? Am I moving around with less soreness in my joints, especially people who suffer from arthritis? I only took 2 capsules yesterday. I can't say in all honesty that I felt like I could run a marathon, but I tell you, I walked probably 4,000 steps with my dogs this morning in less than an hour, which for me, that's monumental. If I am going to walk a mile with my dogs, it's taken me usually an hour because I walk slower at a slower pace. And when I get back, my bones and joints and muscles surrounding are sore. I did not feel that soreness. Okay, so when I can start running a marathon or dancing better, you will know it because you'll see me doing it on a webinar. Okay, so I hope we've cleared up any questions and anything that you wanted to know about the LongeviD product. We will be finishing out the Calm category next week. So we kind of jumped and got out of order because I thought it was important that we continue to follow up on this brand new product. I know it's been the top seller this week at Solle. Blake mentioned that they've been working overtime at the warehouse to get it shipped out. Thankfully, we didn't get them completely blown out of the water. There was enough to ship for everyone. So thank you everybody for supporting the new product. Thank you as always for being with us every week. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing Solle the way you do. Again, kudos, my hat's off to you. I love Solle Naturals. I love my association with each of you. I am fortunate. I am blessed. I am very, very lucky to have you all in my life. I'm grateful for our association. And for those of you who don't know, my mentor is on the call this week. That is Miss Chris DeVilliers, who just spoke to us just a few minutes ago. Chris is my mentor. I am grateful to have her in my life as well. And if you don't feel loved or supported, then I'm failing, but I hope you're feeling loved and supported. And I love sharing with you every week. And thank you for sharing these webinars with everyone. We'll see you everybody next week. And just a quick reminder, on Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time, we start our business trainings. So if you would like to join in that, please send me a quick text or an email. My email address is PRDebbie, and Debbie is DEBBIE. It's the traditional spelling. PRDebbie@hotmail.com. I love you. Have a great week. If you haven't received your LongeviD yet, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. Hopefully you get it soon and you can get started on that. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next week.